Hello guys, once again it's Matt, and today we have another video. Let's thank our members first, Crazy Boo, Invictus, and our Foxhound Patreon Interceptor. Thank you all the members and Patreons, and let's get into it. Make sure to subscribe and be a member if you want to help the channel. So today we're going to take a look on, or basically talk, not take a look, right? Talk a little bit about the Draken, or the J-35, you know? I did a video on that as well. I don't know if it's going to be released before or after this video yet, but still. And with the addition of the Finnish Air Force, or the Sub-3, you know, we will probably see more Drakens in the future. And I wanted to talk a little bit about the Draken itself, you know. It's one of the most amazing aircraft from the 60s, you know, and 70s even. It is very different from anything else that we've ever seen, you know. It's an aircraft that is very, very unique, and I think it's kind of in a bad spot right now. The J-35A, I'm not gonna talk too much about it because that aircraft having problems is more due to the Su-25 and A-10 being close to the BR. And I mean, this is an aircraft that is made to face MiG-21 F-13s, bombers from that era as well, and they're basically from the same era as the Su-15, MiG-21, early F-4s and stuff like that, you know. So it's difficult to just say that fighting R60Ms is kind of a fair deal, right? But also especially talk about the J-35D, which is the main variant that we have, and basically the only Tech 3 variant that we have of the J-35, you know? It's weird that we don't have an earlier version than that, to be honest. Even the J-35B, for example, it could be a very, very good bridge between the J-32B and the J-35D, you know? Maybe even being 9.7 or something like that, you know, just like the J-35A, and having a little bit of a better radar than the A, to be honest. It would make a little bit of a shorter gap between the Lancing and the Draken, you know, and being another Draken, obviously, but earlier one with less capable missiles, less capable engine, and stuff like that, and less capable radar as well. Also, after the D, you know, the D is basically the, I mean, we had the A and the B's in the early, really early 60s, and then we had the C, which was a 2C trader, which it's not like very, you know, useful for the game. Then we have the D, which is the basically the middle ground from 1963, 1965 version, which is pretty alright, to be honest, but I think there is a lot of time to be gained with that. First of all, I wanted to talk about the Swedish versions that can be added after the D, because we basically have these. We have the A, the B, the C is a two-seater trainer, then we have the D, then we have the E, which is a reconnaissance version, not really, you know, good in the game, and then we would have the F and the J, basically. The G was also a version for ground attack, but they actually just cancelled. But still, so after the D, for in-game is just the F and the J, you know? And yeah, the F should be already, to be honest, the D is pretty good to have it, but I think the F should be added, or the J directly, you know? Because the J is actually a modification for the Fs, so yeah, I don't know. But the Fs, they have its problems, you know? And we're going to talk about some of them as well. Mainly, it is an aircraft that it is basically the improvement of the D variant. So it has a better radar, for example. It has a new afterburner, if I'm not mistaken. But everything else is kind of the same, you know. But the main thing is that it has an IRST, which always helps. And it uses the Falcon missiles, so the IR and the SAR version. Which would improve a little bit of the performance of a Draken as well. I know it's not a very good missile, but I had some sources that said that the Swedish actually improved the Falcon a little bit, you know, so they had modifications for the Falcon missile. So it's not going to be that bad, you know, it's going to be probably a little bit better than the early missiles like the AIM-9B and stuff like that. Not going to be super amazing, but a SAR version that it is going to be an all-aspect missile together with the better PS-01 radar, it's going to be very, very good, I think. But yeah, it's basically the same aircraft as the D, but improve it with better avionics, better electronics, integrated radar, with the avionics and stuff. As I said, the missiles, and it had one, I mean, basically two problems, you know. One of them is that the cannon was also removed, you know, and to make space for more avionics. So the already kind of difficult gun to hit sometimes with the J-35, it would be a little bit worse, you know. Then the other thing is that I couldn't find if this aircraft actually used flares or chaff. There are some sources that said that it does use flares and chaff, you know, and there are sources that say that it doesn't. So I don't know. We had the normal F, and then we have the, I mean, the F1 without the IRST, but then the F2. The F2 is the version that we would get it, you know, with the IRST, and basically has everything else that I said, especially a radar with very good ECM resistance as well for the time, you know. So yeah, and then we have the J, which it is all of these things that I told you, but even better, you know. So it's basically a late 80s modification. So they had modifications done to the F2, the J-35 F2, to make it have a longer lifespan, modernized electronics, a modernized cannon, still just one cannon, and 2 additional M9s, which is always nice as well, under the air intakes, and increased fuel capacity as well, which is always a good thing in an aircraft such as the J-35. So yeah, I think it's just an aircraft that needs to be added. I don't know if it's the F2 that should be added or the J. I think the J should be added. I mean, I think I already said, we'll say this on the video of the Swedish Tech Tree, but I think we should have 3 Swedish, in the Tech Tree, 3 Swedish J-35s. We have to have the B, we have to have the D that we already have, and then we have to have one of the later ones. And as I said, the F2 to the J is not that much of a difference, so I would just put the J there instead of the F2. But yeah, and there is this problem of not having flares, you know. It would be a little bit better, but worse at the same time, because it wouldn't have the additional gun, you know. So of course you would have another missile, but doesn't change the fact that it's probably going to be a 10.7 if it doesn't have flares, right? So then we have to have the idea of using the sub-trees, you know. I think we're going to get the Finnish sub-tree, you know, that already can have like 2 or 3 maybe, but at least like 1 or 2 export variants of the Draken, you know. And it's not too much different from the versions on the Swedish Tech Tree, to be honest. The Finnish actually have basically most of the models that they had were sold like from second hand from Sweden, you know. And then they have the XD, which was I think it's the, is it the SD or the XD? I always forget. It's the XS, which is actually, you know, it was built inside of Finland, apparently with kits. So we can have that variant, and that variant is based on the J-35's F, but it doesn't have the IRST, but it does have the capabilities of using the R-13M, which it would be nice to see another type of missile, you know. And it has the ability to carry flares. So if we don't have a Draken that has flares on the Swedish line, at least in the Finnish one, we can have it, okay? And also another variant that I think is very, very, very interesting to see would be the A35XD, which is a Danish version. If we get a sub-3 for the Danish in the future, we can get the A35. As I said, it is a fighter bomber version of the J-35F, so the same that I said, but it is improved basically. So it has the flares and chaff, it has additional pylons for air to ground basically, you know. It uses the M9N2 or N1, I don't remember which one, which is an improved version of the M9J, you know, so pretty alright, to be honest. And even it can carry like some other types of rockets from the US and even bullpups. So the A35, but there's the catch. If I'm not mistaken, the A35, it doesn't have a radar, okay? So we would basically lose some of this stuff to gain another stuff, basically, you know? So yeah, I don't know. It's complicated, but think about it. It's going to be very, very fun, because you're going to actually have like different types of aircraft depending on the country that you are using it on the subtree, you know. So basically we would have like probably at least we can have like 5 dragons, and 2 of them having flares and being a bit different with different, even a Russian missile, and then the other one, the Swedish one, um, you know, can be just a normal Draken with the IRST and the Falcon missile. So yeah, we can have many different missiles and different types of, um, you know, different types of gameplays basically. So yeah, I really don't understand why we don't get it yet. Hopefully soon, since the Finnish sub 3 is already here. So hopefully at least this XS version, 35XS or sub 35XS, you know, or some other version or some other sub 3 in the future. I am excited about the, uh, the Swedish tech tree having more these sub trees and being actually as basically a Scandinavian tech tree, you know. But I don't know, people maybe don't like that. I don't know. I just think that it would be fun to have these multiple aircraft in that, or an aircraft tree that is not that big, you know. The Swedish tech tree is very small, to be honest. It would be very cool, you know. So yeah, but remember that. So the F or the J for the Swedish, the Finnish having the XS, and if we get a Danish sub 3, the A35 as well would be amazing. So yeah, hopefully we get everything as I said. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed the video. Let me know in the comments what variant of the Saab 35 you want to see, the J-35, and let me know in the comments. And yeah, I see you guys on the next one. Bye guys.